Aiden Hill returns and a lineup move that pays dividends in VGK's 3-2 win over the Islanders in New York. We'll tell you all about it next, right here on Locked On Golden Knights.
Your Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, hi again, everyone. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. You can find us wherever you get your podcast, and also make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Locked On Golden Knights. We are brought to you today by Sleeper. Download the app and get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL. So, Chris, Golden Knights did, in fact, bounce back last night following that disastrous loss at the Prudential Center on Tuesday night as they defeated the Islanders last night in a game in which VGK never trailed 3-2. Nick Waugh with the game winner for VGK. So we've got Nick Waugh beating Patrick Waugh in that showdown. Is that what happened?
I guess that was one of your locks. So there you go. See, you were smart when you had Waugh. You had two Waughs, like in case Patrick Waugh had to go and be the e-bug and get an empty net goal or something. So that was actually pretty smart thinking, Tony.
Hey, what about VGK having to take? It's so rigged. They took the Long Island Railroad to the game. Okay, so they took the train out to the game, which is kind of what does that say? What is that?
NHL.
Oh, I couldn't tell. Okay, we got it now.
Scratching my head, bro.
Okay, scratching my head, bro. So in any event, yeah, they give VGK a soft game after the Devils game. Why? Because right there, rigged. But a better performance by the VGK.
Way to set the scene there. Yeah, I mean, Cassidy, he ended his press conference Monday after the Devils game with a little bit of a.
I said Tuesday. I was wrong. It's Monday. Yeah.
No. You're good. You're good.
Okay.
He ended his press conference Monday with a little bit of a swear word when he was upset about delivering a poop job of delivering the message to the team. So the team responded very well. I guess just to start a little bit, a lot of shots given up. We'll hit Aiden Hill a little more in the second segment, but 42 shots given up. Not necessarily the workload that they would have wanted Aiden to get in his return, but it was good to see him check a lot of boxes. Golden Knights gave up 16 high danger chances total in this game between the power plays and even strength opportunities. So a little more than you would like to see there. But at the end of the day, the Golden Knights got the victory, right? They scored first. Like Tony said, they never trailed, and it was a better game. It definitely, to quote Cassidy, it was not a perfect game by any means, but it was many steps above the beer league performance from Monday nights.
Yeah, and Nick Hague defensively did a little touche act on that Brock Nelson goal where he just turned his back. He just turned his back. But what overall do you feel VGK did to create a lot of the issues that they experienced in Monday's game, Monday at the Rock?
As far as like fixing them, do you mean? Or what they do wrong on Monday?
What do they fix? Yeah, what do they clean up?
I mean, listen, bad games are going to happen. And I think Tuesday's game, when you look at Tuesday's game, they won. Nice, good game, 3-2, tough road win, back-to-back. I mean, there's a lot of things going against the Golden Knights. Tony doesn't want to say that, but a lot of things against the Golden Knights, starting with their travel arrangements, taking the train instead of however else you travel around that sprawling metropolis over there. But 3-game winning streak before that. You lost to the Flames on that Saturday, beat the Bruins prior. So, I mean, they're not going to be perfect or close to it for 82 games a year. And games like Monday are going to happen. And it's probably not going to be the last one of the season. And I think you look at the positivity in the sense that this is basically almost not a carbon copy, but a similar scenario as last year. The Golden Knights have a 4-game road trip to close out I guess you can call it not the first half of the season, but the unofficial first half of the season before the All-Star break comes. Golden Knights only got 2 points in that trip and looked abysmal. They looked bad. And from a year-over-year perspective, Looked
They
this
got
up
3
last
points
night.
already. They got 3 points in this
They
streak.
got 3
That's
points
pretty good.
already, but and also more importantly, if I would have told you that the Golden Knights are actually ahead of pace from a year-over-year perspective, I think fans would take that. Last season, Golden Knights, 62 points, 51 games.
Hmm.
This year, 62 points, 48 games. And right now, the injury bug is hitting a heck of a lot harder than it was this time last season. And you're starting to see light at the end of the tunnel. Aiden Hill's the first player to come back of many, Eichel, Theodore, and so many more. That's Carlson, so many more that still need to come back. So, the Golden Knights certainly turned things around nicely. And to go back to the question about what did they do differently, I think they were just themselves this game. I think that's the easiest answer. Whatever, they were the best version of themselves. There you go, Cassidy quote right there. Best version of themselves. Everyone stuck to their individual game, and it led to a good team performance.
VGK still finessing its way. Just 11 hits in the game last night, right? So that's like
Because William
21.
Karlsson's out. They're not getting all their hits because of William Karlsson.
They're not getting
isn't playing.
hits because Carlson's out, man. They definitely need his enforcer status back in the lineup. What was different about the Islanders' structure in this game?
I mean, I don't know. It looked like the same team that the Golden Knights played, a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. Islanders, they're not a great team. They're not a bad team. The one thing I will say about the Islanders, at least prior to this season when things kind of went a little bit wayward for them, good defensive team. Boring team that will just wear you down and look for opportunities. Little different version of that team last night. They had 42 shots on goal and 16 high danger chances, but I didn't necessarily see a big difference from the teams. They had a little more juice because they were at home. I say different teams from the version of the Islanders we saw at T-Mobile a couple Saturdays ago versus last night's version. So, I mean, they're at home. They had a little more juice. Golden Knights had a little less juice. So, I mean, scoring that first goal was very, very important. And they got to, I want to say, they got to dictate the pace of the game because the Golden Knights probably lost in a lot of like puck possession metrics and things like that. But it was the right game. They grinded out a game. And, this is one of those games in the last 2 games where the Golden Knights are finding ways to get points when they're not at their best, which is we heard a lot of early in the season, which if that's where the Golden Knights are getting back to right now, then this is looking really good as the All-Star break's about to come.
And Ivan Barbashev, let's point out now, points in the last 4 games, and Nick Waugh is also on a heater for the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah, no, definitely good call right there. I'm trying to find, I had their points there somewhere. I don't know. But I think Barbashev 8 points and 5, I want to say. And is it Nick Waugh 5 and 4 or 5 and 3, something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
We're seeing a different version of Nick Waugh. Nick Waugh, in my opinion, in my terribly unbiased opinion, is probably one of the best 4th line centers in the National Hockey League. He's able to grind. He's able to score. He has skill, but we've basically seen the defensive version of Nicholas Waugh for the last, 2.5, 3 seasons in Vegas right now, because he's been down on that 4th line and he gets the opportunity when, someone else goes down. But usually when he comes up to the top 6, it's been on a wing position. And Nick Waugh's not, I mean, his numbers tell the tale. He's just not comfortable on the wing, but he's really, I guess, growing into his own skin. Or again, Cassidy, I mean, becoming the best version of ourselves. Is that the next book if they win the cup? He's really just growing into that role and becoming the best version of himself. And he does have that skill needed. And he also understands he's got a couple pretty good wingers on his side, and Marchessault and Barbashev. So not to overthink it. Nick Waugh had such a nice pass. I feel like, I don't know if it was the Pittsburgh game or one of the games last week, but he just, had a great passing play where just a tiny bit reminds you of the type of looks that Jack Eichel is able to create for his wingers. And Nick Waugh is not anywhere near Jack Eichel, but looking down the line
rubbing
here,
off on him. I mean, he's rubbing off on him. I'm
of
sure.
course,
They're practicing
and
every day with him. Sure.
is Nicholas Waugh ready for a bigger role with this team next season, depending on what happens with free agents and stuff, or just from a general perspective? So, a lot to like about Nick Waugh's situation for the Golden Knights right now. And I mean, I'll say this, okay, off season, I didn't like Nicholas Waugh's contract, right? Didn't he get, was it 3 times? He was signed for $3 million, I thought.
Yeah.
Or maybe it
Yeah.
was Lee.
something like
Maybe it was
that.
the previous season when I did
Yeah.
this. I
It was
remember
a
I was actually
couple of
I was in
years.
Roll and Smoke Barbecue tweeting about it. I thought he got paid a little too much, and I guess like my brisket that night, off to eat my words.
Okay. Aiden Hill
Good
returned.
chop brisket. Good brisket, by the way. It's Roll and
Aiden
Smoke.
Hill returned for
Unpaid
the
there.
for the VGK to the starting lineup last night, the first time in over 2 months, and he gave up 2 goals on 42 shots. We'll talk about Aiden Hill's return right after this on Locked On Golden Knights. We are driven by the search for better, but when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate is really to search. Don't search, match. Use Indeed, folks. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform. Yeah, the copy did not make sense. So we did a little audible edit right there on the air for you. With over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you to find quality candidates fast, check out Indeed. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so that you could connect with candidates faster. And Indeed doesn't just help you to hire faster. 93% of employers use Indeed delivers use Indeed. It delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to a recent Indeed survey. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent and fast. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/locked on. Just go to Indeed.com/locked on right now. Support our show by saying that you heard about it on this very podcast. Indeed.com/locked on. Terms and conditions apply. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Welcome back, Locked On Golden Knights. This Wednesday edition, Tony Cardasco and Chris Collick from Las Vegas, where the Coyotes are biting people all over the valley. Please do not feed the stinking Coyotes, okay? People think that their dogs they're out there in the wild and they carry rabies, okay? Unbelievable. They're icky, man. So stay away from
the
the
twists
Coyotes.
and turns and the roller coaster that is Locked On Vegas Golden Knights.
Okay, I just had to get that PSA out there. And don't forget, on Saturdays, we've got the Chris and Chris show, which is on YouTube. That's the exclusive. Fridays, everywhere on the planet, it's WTF, What the Friday, and sometimes it's even rigged. So let's talk about Aiden Hill. His return and the first time getting a start in about 2 months, over 2 months now. Faced a lot of, you were talking about the high danger shots last night for the VGK, but they created a lot of chances in that game against the Islanders. Did the Golden Knights?
Yes and no. The high danger metrics, I'll pull them up when you're going next. Golden Knights were opportunistic as far as their scoring opportunities, but Aiden Hill was busy. Aiden Hill was asked post game if he liked the busier workload. He says yes. Coach Cassidy was asked if he liked watching. Pardon me, if he liked watching Aiden Hill getting the busier workload, and Cassidy said, "There's a happy medium."
He didn't call him. He did not call him the goalie. The
Okay.
goalie, though, he did not call him the goalie.
No, he knows Aiden Hill by name very, very well.
Now
I
he
think
does.
Aiden
Yeah,
Hill's on the
he was in
Christmas
the
list, and
yeah, he was in the
maybe not.
doghouse a year ago, but now they're like bros. Yeah, for sure.
No doubt. Aiden did check a lot of boxes last night, and you just missed the way he moves. Like, he's very robotic, but I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, all 4 of his limbs are kind of moving opposite directions as he's going across the crease. He does a good job, like almost pushing off the post, going from post to post, and crashes right into the post as he gets to the other side. At times I thought he looked a tiny bit slow, but he hadn't finished a game in over 2 months and basically started one game in the last 2 months. So there's certainly a bit of a learning curve there. The biggest area of opportunity I would say that I saw was his glove. Both goals did beat him on that glove side. Once was a short side, and then that second goal that made it a 3-2 game. I mean, you got to just tip the hat. I forgot who scored that goal, but just the way they
That wasn't
picked
the
that
Nelson
corner
goal,
was
was it?
remarkable. But the first goal, I thought Aiden was beat clean, and I noticed after that, I felt, I don't know if this was Patrick Waugh scouting or just whatever the Islanders do in their pre-scout, but they were attacking Aiden's glove a lot, and I don't know if I mean, we have talked about Aiden Hill's glove hand in the past, now that I think about it. And listen, no goalie's perfect. Maybe that's where the metrics say shoot. But I mean, listen, Aiden Hill is still leading the NHL, I believe, in goals against and save percentage. And those stats both went up a little bit last night in his performance. Well, actually, his goals against probably went down, but his are up the other way around. But his save percentage definitely climbed a little stronger. So, I mean, are we talking about a Vezina candidate if he, depending on the amount of starts he gets and all that? Who knows?
Yeah, that was a rigged game because they played the Islanders, of course, in his first time back. So now, how does Bruce Cassidy handle the goaltenders, the goalie and Hill? So you got the
The
goalie
goalie
and
and
you've got Hill. So we've got the Rangers and we have the Red Wings coming up in another. Oh, it's so rigged. BGK playing back to backs. So how does he handle the two goaltenders?
well, I think Tony acknowledged the rig schedule against the Golden Knights for a second. They don't tell anybody.
I don't know.
I think
Everything's rigged
first
in
of
my
all,
mind.
I did a Twitter poll a while, or an X poll, we call it nowadays. It was probably last Saturday, I want to say, just what do we feel the rotation is going to be? The choices were Aiden Hill more starts, Logan Thompson more starts, or 50-50. And 50-50 got the lion's share. And the gap between Logan and Aiden getting the lion's share of the net was actually not that far apart. So kind of interesting. It's nice to see Logan's stock going up in the eyes of the fans because he did a tremendous job carrying this team, through many of these last 12, 13, 14 games, whatever it's been now. Other goalie news, the other guy was sent down to Henderson. Patera was sent back down, which definitely gave us a clue that Aiden Hill would be returning. So as far as the starts, they're going to mix these games up. I think Logan's going to go Friday at Madison Square Garden. Aiden's going to take the team to the All-Star break Saturday against the Red Wings. Coming out of the All-Star break, the schedule in February is very loose. Very loose. Just looks like one back-to-back scenario in the middle of the month. San Jose on the road, Nashville at home. So that's barely a back-to-back. So February, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 10 games. 10 games. I'm going to go 6-4 in favor of Aiden Hill for February as far as starts go.
Yeah, that's probably about right. And yeah, it also depends, as we've seen in the past, on how the goalies react, whoever the hot hand is for VGK. That's how Cassidy's decided as well in the past. But Hill, did you see any weaknesses other than you thought he might have gotten a little bit tired in his game?
No, I mean, listen, this is a typical Aiden Hill game, right? He was strong. He was confident. Looked in control. I mean, I didn't really feel like I saw a goalie that hadn't played in 2 months. I mean, a couple of, like, I'm nitpicking right now when I make the comments about the glove and looking a little bit slow. Like, I want to be clear about that. I thought it was a very strong and encouraging start, and I'm just grasping at straws a little bit when I pick at his glove hand and some of the movements in the crease, but that's still better than many of the goalies in the National Hockey League. So hard to find any weaknesses in that game, and certainly this is necessary, right? I mean, this is what the Golden Knights needed, and the only thing I would like more information on, and I wish I would just taken a shot here and just sent this to someone, but I want to know the timeline, not of yesterday starting. I want to know what happened from being medically cleared before the Avalanche game to Aiden doesn't feel right to 3 more weeks going by or 2 weeks, whatever it was, to him finally getting in the net. If there's one thing that does bother me in all this, it's that. And I know we're never going to know. And I guess the only question I want to know is, was this an Aiden Hill decision all the way? Or was there something medically that happened after he was supposed to start against the Avalanche, however long ago that was? If that's any negative light, that's what I want to know. But otherwise, as far as Aiden Hill in the net, great for the Golden Knights. And like I said, we're reminded of how good this team was early in the year and how good this team really can be. If I'm going to nitpick one thing, I'm going to go away from Aiden Hill for a second. Brett Howden. Brett Howden's a concern right now. -6 in his last 2 games. Looking a little bit lost out there.
Yeah.
As the Golden Knights return to health, I mean, Howden does have the ability to kill penalties.
Why does he look so why is that, I wonder, all of a sudden? Like, he's been exposed.
He's a young player that's not Jack Eichel and William Karlsson. I think we just kind of start. I mean, not as young now, but It's just there's a talent gap there, and it's not a knock on Howden. It's who he is. So, in Howden's defense, he did step up offensively in the playoffs last year, but so did everybody. Was that a product of him being on his own line with those cast-offs and Mark Stone and stuff like that next to him, and Chandler Stevenson, who aren't nearly as good as Brett Howden is. I mean, obviously,
he had his own line last year, for crying out loud, the Brett Howden line.
So Howden's positive side, he has the ability to kill penalties, but so does Nicholas Waugh. So does Jack Eichel. So does Mark Stone. So does Nicholas Waugh. I don't know if I said Nicholas Waugh, but point being is there's a lot of killers on this team. And when the forwards get back to health, I think Howden, possibly Cotter, are going to be on the outside looking in, because you're not taking Pavel Dorofeev out of this lineup. You're not.
So what was it? What was the stat like? So Aiden Hill missed 22 of the last 23 games because he came back.
It was basically, I don't know what was a 20 game, whatever it was, but it was 2 months and a day to when he started his last NHL, to when he completed his last NHL game. I believe that was the Dallas Stars overtime or shootout game, whatever that game was, going way, 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 way back now, 2 months ago. And then he was pulled in the Vancouver game. I believe that was November 6th. And if I'm not mistaken, the Ottawa game where he was in for 6 minutes and 25 seconds was December 17th. So that's the timeline for him getting back to his first full NHL game. I just want to know what the timeline was of him not playing for the last 3 weeks after being medically cleared. That's what I want.
If he was tired, if he's a little gassed, there against the Islanders, then they didn't want to play him in altitude against Colorado. Wasn't that game up there? I think.
He was slated to start that game. And okay, how about the next night against Boston? And we can go on and on and on here. I mean, it's weird. It's weird. It's something going on there.
Coming up next, a key lineup change leads to a big goal for VGK on the road last night against the Islanders in Elmont, New York. We'll talk about that when we return right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Regardless of where we are in the current standings, we want to remind you that you could win big by playing daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper, the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network. Sleeper is our #1 choice for daily fantasy sports, and especially daily fantasy hockey, because with Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contest. What players would you take this week to win 100 times the money? Well, you decide. There's a lot of different players that are starting to peak there. Jonathan Marchessault had an assist last night, so he remains hot after getting a 4-game goal streak halted. And, of course, we talk a lot about Kucherov and McKinnon, players like that, who record more than their sleeper projections for things like goals, assists, saves, plus minuses, and much, much more in a given game. To win 100 times your bet on Sleeper, what you need to do is correctly predict the outcome of 8 player stats. You heard us, VGK fans. You can win 100 times your money by playing daily fantasy hockey with Sleeper. So start paying attention now, and you could win big. Use the promo code LOCKDOWNNHL, and you will get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That's code LOCKDOWNNHL. See Sleeper's terms of use. We are back, Locked On Golden Knights, for this Wednesday edition. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from Las Vegas. We appreciate you making us your first listen. And please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Because I was thinking during that little brief break that we just had, is this like the Coyotes' revenge for what William Karlsson said about them? So they're going around biting people around the valley, maybe?
Jesus.
Of course, Bruce Cassidy takes out Brendan Brisson from the lineup, and he inserts Sheldon Rempal as a starter. And so Cassidy said he took Brisson, or Briso as I call him, he took him out and put in Rempal into the lineup, who scored a second period goal, his first in the National Hockey League. Did Cassidy really not have the confidence of Brisson playing in a back-to-back? What was the case there?
I mean, if you want to break it down like that, yes, but it wasn't because Brendan Brisson isn't, gaining the trust or anything like that. So, I mean, here's pretty much verbatim what Cassidy said, and we can go ahead and talk about it. Nothing against Brisson. We just felt one of the issues with younger guys in back-to-backs is strength. We knew it'd be a heavy game. You saw it with Pavel Dorofeev. He had a tougher time tonight. The younger guys, when they're a little fatigued, it's a tough league if you're not at 100%. That's just the reality of learning to play every night as a young guy. So when you read that right there, that Cassidy is, and maybe this isn't as big of a deal, but Cassidy is absolutely above the rim. And maybe it's not just Cassidy's decision. Maybe this is a conversation among the staff and everything, but you have to give Cassidy a ton of credit in making this decision. Yes, it led to an important goal, and congrats to Sheldon Rempal for getting his first career NHL goal after getting 99 goals in the American League. So goal number 100 was very special for him, obviously, at the professional level. But Cassidy having the stones, no pun intended, to take out Brisson, who's the golden boy right now. Ooh, golden boy. Do we like that? I think we just got a Brisson nickname right there. He's the golden boy
he could
right
be
now.
The golden boy because Vegas Bjorn is the golden child. So
Bjorn.
Where's Bjornfoot?
You can have that. You can have
coming back.
Tony, I gift you hashtag Golden Bjorn. Okay, I give that to you. You'll take care of that baby much better than I ever will.
It'll be hashtagged. I'm sure. I'll steal it. Thanks, man.
Yeah, there you go. So back to Cassidy. He knows what he's doing. He's now a Stanley Cup winning coach, been to 2 Stanley Cups and everything else that he's done. But you have to admire that confidence. You have to admire his big picture scenario. You have to admire the fact that Brisson looked pretty good against the Penguins on Saturday, gets his first NHL goal. And I don't think he was overly bad against the New Jersey Devils. The whole forward unit was bad defensively, I guess, but I don't think that's at all why Brisson was benched. It was just simply, let's get a guy in there who's going to have a little bit better legs, and Rempal can play a heavier game too. Rempal definitely has been very physical at the American League level, and Brisson just isn't that type of player. He'll battle and stuff, but Brisson's not going to have nearly as many hits as like a Sheldon Rempal is going to do. Rempal is a very poor man's version of Jonathan Marchessault out there. He's got the shot, he's got the physicality, he's got that mentality that's just going to, for lack of a better term, piss off the other players. I hope I can say that without pissing anyone off. So it's a good mix, and we'll see what happens Friday now against the Rangers if Rempal draws out and Brisson draws back in, or if they take another path and look at Howden right now or look at Paul Cotter. I don't know. I'm not suggesting Rempal over Howden or Paul Cotter, but maybe Cassidy will do that. I don't know. It's not going to be Howden because revenge game against the Rangers. That's obviously New York Rangers great Brett Howden, so he's got to get in there and mix some things up, I guess, that game.
When Cassidy says nothing against Brisson, that equals, as we know, in Cassidy terms, everything against Brisson. He just does. I thought you were
going to say week to week all of a sudden.
Yeah, Cassidy's never been an advocate of young players. He still believes that they have to pay their dues. He really does.
No,
so
it's fair.
Who knows? I think again, fair. It's a back-to-back scenario. Yes, I get all that. It's just amazing though how this organization makes the right moves. Like in the history of this organization, seriously, they always seem to make the right move. Right, though,
I'm not going to lie. I was, honest to God, I'm going to get dragged for this one. I was close to writing an article about Aiden Hill getting one of the worst contracts in the history of the Golden Knights.
Oh,
if this injury was going to drag on longer, it was coming.
Bro, it was coming. Do it, man. Come on.
No, it's got to play out. This season has to play out. And to be fair, I will walk that back now because Aiden Hill got on the ice. Like, let's be completely clear. I'm not writing this article today, but it was on my mind the longer this injury went on, because you look at the totality of Aiden Hill's career and the amount of games he's played in a regular season and stuff. So, we'll see what happens. Aiden may shove it up my keister and wind up winning a Vezina this year. And if that's the case, great. Happy to walk that one back right there. So, and put a ball on it. Glad Aiden Hill's back, and I certainly hope both goalies can now be at their best, because Logan was really good. Logan was really good during this stretch. It took him a little while, I think, to get acclimated, but once he got settled in, he had many more good games than, I want to say bad games, but many more good games than not good games. He made that one more save you always hear.
Then beer league games.
Yeah, he had a beer league game, as did the rest of the team and the coaching staff. Everybody gets equal blame right there. And, I just wonder if Cassidy, I think Stephen Marsh, I guess I'm going to steal this from Stephen Marsh, but you wonder if Cassidy's going to put out a statement apologizing to beer leagues across the country for his terribly insensitive words.
Yeah, that was awful.
Thanks, Marsh. Thanks, Marsh.
He needs to do a PSA about beer leagues now or something.
He should.
Pay back.
And Tony, you do something about the Coyotes. The Coyotes, they're just trying to eat, bro. They're just trying to eat right now. So you just say sorry to the Coyotes in the Valley.
Yeah, it's really bad.
There's gonna be so many memes and pictures. Who's our Photoshop? They still call it Photoshop? Who's our Photoshop guys? We need I challenge our Twitterverse, our Xverse to I need a picture with Tony petting a coyote.
Okay, that would be pretty cool since I hate him. Okay, so one final question here. You've seen Rempal. They called him Rempal early on. Now he's Rempal. Who knows?
I think it's Rempal. I could be wrong. I think it's Rempal.
No, it's okay because every pronunciation changes, and like even Tony would be pronounced differently with this team. Okay, so you've seen this player, Sheldon Baby, in the AHL. Can you tell us a little bit more about his game?
Scrappy, goal scorer, nose for the nets, not afraid to mix it up. He, I guess while I'm walking the line, I'll keep walking the line. He grabs his nuts and goes to work. And the quote of Chandler Stevenson from a couple seasons ago. I hate to say it this way, but he's also, a career AHL type. That's at least how his career has been to this moment. You never know. He could be a late bloomer. And there was a really good radio interview that came up. It was right after the game where he was with Dan Duva and Gary Lawless talking about his goal. And his comments were fun. Like he mentioned, this is kind of, I don't know if it was a shot at Brennan Brisson, but it kind of was. He said, some guys black out when they score their first goal, but Sheldon remembered every vivid detail of it, from the setup to the passing and everything. So the picture he painted was good. And then Dan Duva set the plate very nicely and mentioned, he'd been around for a long time and limited games in the National League. Did Sheldon ever feel that this moment was going to come? And Sheldon, hit the nail on the head. He said, listen, you're not a human being if you don't have doubts sometime. It's taken a while. And then, he talked about the importance and the excitement and everything. So, back to your question, Rempal is a very good hockey player. Is he an everyday NHL player? I mean, maybe he's going to be now. Maybe he's going to get his opportunity. If he winds up going back down or when he goes back down to the AHL, it's not a negative reflection of his work habit by any means. Dude works his butt off. He's going to do everything he can to help Henderson or Vegas.
That was his 100th career goal?
It was his 100th career professional regular season goal. There could be some playoff goals mixed in there.
Was he in the queue also or no?
I don't think he was in the queue. I could be wrong. I don't think he played in the queue. I love the queue.
I know that's your favorite thing. We especially thank our everydayers for tuning in and keeping us going here. And then don't forget Friday's WTF with the Saturdays, the Chris and Chris show. I'm Tony Cardasco from Las Vegas, along with the one and only Chris Golick. Did you change your name there?
Yes.
Chris Golick.
There's one of those, like, whatever those sideways things are you put over to say it differently.
Just put it.
What do they call
Chris
those?
Golick.
Stay in school, kids. Stay in school. Okay.
We'll catch you again tomorrow right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Take care.